All right, everybody. How you guys doing? Happy New Year. Thanks for tuning in. This week, I think I'm going to do like a second guitar lesson. Last week, I had posted a video called Your First Guitar Lesson, and that was geared towards anyone who may have gotten a guitar for the first time for the holidays. This is a continuation of that lesson. You don't necessarily need to see the first lesson before going into this one, but it would definitely be helpful. So check the link in the description below for that first lesson. But the last lesson, we learned 3 of the main chords of G major, playing in the key of G major, because a lot of songs in popular music are in G major, in that key. So when you learn these chords, you're going to learn how to play along with a lot of popular songs. So brief recap of the last lesson: G major, okay, D major, and then C major, okay. This week we're going to add 2 more chords to that, also in the G major key, or the key of G. And last week we also learned the first position of the G Major Pentatonic scale, which was the first position of the G Major Pentatonic scale. I want to add a few more notes to that scale to give you a little bit more flexibility when trying to play over a chord progression that's in G. You know, most guitar lessons for beginners are supposed to be super easy, super basic, but unfortunately a lot of them are also super boring, right? So I want to try to teach you this pentatonic scale, or in bits and pieces, so you can have a little fun while you're learning the basics, right? Because the basics are always pretty boring. So if you can learn the chords that I'm teaching you, and then also learn the scale that I'm teaching you in these videos, this series of videos, then I think you're going to be able to very quickly have fun playing the guitar, not just running through chords or, you know, doing the boring basic stuff. Okay, so stick with me, right? This week we're going to talk about 2 chords that are also in the key of G. They're called minor chords, okay? Last week we learned, all 3 chords we learned were major, right? G, D, and C. They're all major chords. 2 chords we're going to learn this week are minor chords, which, without getting too much into the weeds, it just means that the 3rd note of the chord, the major 3rd, is dropped a half a step and makes it a minor chord. Minor chords typically sound more sad or more somber, right? So let's just get into the chords, right? So we're going to do an A minor chord, okay? A minor chord looks like it sounds like this. You can hear it kind of sounds a little bit sad, a little bit dark, a little bit depressing, right? The A major chord sounds like that. I'm not going to teach you that right now because it's not in the key of G, but you can hear the difference: major, minor. Hear how it sounds like sad, right? We're also going to, and I'll go through that in just a second, we're also going to learn the E minor chord, okay? E minor sounds like this. Also a very sad sounding chord, right? The major of that, E major, sounds like that, E minor. So you can hear the difference between major and minor, right? Now, let's do a little bit, let's dig into the A minor chord. The A minor chord is just going to be 5 strings. I'll put a chart up here so you can see what it looks like. And it's going to look like this. The A string, 2nd string from the top, is going to be open. Okay? You're not going to play the low E. You're not going to play that one. So you're just going to play the A string, 2nd from the top. You're going to put your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, which is the 3rd one down from the top, right? So you've got A, and then the 2nd fret of that D string. You're going to use your ring finger and go right below that 2nd fret of the G string, okay? So now you've got, and then you're going to use your index finger, your pointer finger, and put it on the 1st fret. Hope I can get my other fingers out of the way. The 1st fret of the B string, 1st fret of the B string. So you've got okay? And you can let that high E string ring out. If you hit the low E string, I think it gets a little bit muddy. So try to focus on just the A string through the high E string, those 5 strings. Okay, so that's the A minor chord. The next chord we're going to talk about is the E minor chord. It's super easy to play. All 6 strings, okay? And it's just 2 fingers. The 2 fingers that you had on the A minor, basically what you're going to do is you're going to take that A minor chord and you're going to lift up your index finger, okay? So you've only got 2 fingers down, and you're going to shift both of these fingers up 1 string towards your face, right? Towards the sky, up onto the 2nd fret of the A string and the D string. So all together you've got the low E string, no fingers on that, right? You've got the A string, the D string, the G string is open, the B string is open, and the high E string is open. So that's your E minor. So why do we want to learn these 2 chords, right? Learning these 2 chords and then adding them to the 3 chords that we learned last week gets you almost to the complete chord scale of G major, right? With the key of G, okay? So there are technically 7 chords in the G major scale, or chord scale, I should say, or in the key of G major. There are seven chords. The 7th one, maybe we'll talk about that next week. It's uncommon. It's what they call a diminished chord. As a beginner, you don't need to learn it right now. Again, we want to have fun, right? So we've got all of our chords from G major now. We've got our G, we've got our D, and we've got our C. All 3 are major chords. Then we've got A minor and E minor, right? That's 5. I may have said 6 earlier. That's 5 of the 7 chords that are in the key of G, okay? And that's all you really need right now. You can strum those chords in any pattern, right? Any pattern you wish, and any sequence you wish, and see if you can come up with something that you like, right? Last week we did G to D to C, and then back to G. Sounds great. Sounds like a very happy song, right? What if you're not feeling really all that happy and you want to write something? You want to write something a little bit somber? Well, then throw in a minor chord or a couple of minor chords. Let's start with G and just see what happens, right? G. Let's try to go to A minor. Go up to D. Right, now these are 3 chord progressions. They're kind of the easiest, basic ones, and they sound good to the ear, right? So G, A minor, D. Okay, that's one progression. Let's do G to E minor to A minor. Let's see how that sounds. G, E minor, A minor, and back to G. Okay? So you can mix it up. You don't even have to start on G if you don't want to, right? You could start on, let's say, A minor, right? And then go to D, maybe E minor, and then G. Okay, something like that. Now, you may be asking, well, why don't we just play all 5 of them, right? You could. It could be great. It could be very complex. It might be hard for the listener to kind of keep up with what you're doing, but let's just give it a try. We'll try to play every chord that we know for, let's say, four measures, I guess, right? So let's start with G, A minor, let's say D, and then C, and then E minor, and then start over. You can do it. It complicates things a little bit more because it's kind of hard to hear where the sequence begins and where it ends. But there are lots of songs that have plenty of chords in them. Like Hotel California has a ton of chords in it that repeat all the time. I think it goes A minor to like E7 and then G, D. So that's 4, and then it goes to D minor, and then, no, sorry, F, C, D minor, E7, right? So I think it's like 8 chords before it repeats again. And obviously everybody knows Hotel California is one of the most popular songs in the world. So it can certainly be done. It's just a little bit more complicated than your simple 3 or 4 chord song, right? Okay, now that we know those 2 extra chords, we've got 5 chords in the key of G. What can you do with them? Well, when you're writing a song, I know a lot of pop songs today just kind of have the same chord progression over and over and over again through the whole song, even if it's a verse or a chorus or a bridge or whatever. A lot of it, it's the same chord progression all the way through. Like if we did Ed Sheeran, Shivers, right? It's let me see if I can remember how to play it. E minor, C, G, and then D, right? So those are 4 chords you guys know now. So you could technically play Shivers by Ed Sheeran because that's all it is through the whole song, right? So E. Now it's a fun little strumming technique that you kind of have to get down. But if you just watch what I do, then you can copy it. E minor, C, G, and then go into D. I took an arrow to the heart. I never kissed a relative like yours. Strawberries and so much more. Yeah, I want it all. Lipstick on my guitar. Fill up the edge with real fun. Go dancing under the stars. Yeah, I want it all. Got me singing like, ooh, be that guy. Kiss your eyes. One drink that smile. Wanna feel like my soul's on fire. I wanna stay up all day and all night. Yeah, you got me singing like, ooh, love it when you do it like that. When you're close up, when you shivers, baby, you wanna dance till the sunlight cracks. When they say the party's over, they will take you right back. Right? So you can see it's just those 4 chords over and over and over again through the whole song, right? So, yeah, practice that and learn the words, and you can play Shivers by Ed Sheeran. I'll probably get a copyright notice on this video, but whatever. Now, the second part of this video I want to show you is, last week we talked about the G Major Pentatonic scale, and it's what you call the first position. A lot of people call it the easy shape, right? It's good to come up with nicknames for each of these shapes. We could talk about why later in a separate video, but the one I showed you last week is called the easy shape. I want to build on that easy shape to give you a little bit more room to move, right? Because if you've just got the 2 notes per string, it might be a little bit difficult to come up with some kind of melody or solo type thing that would be fun to play with the chord progression, any chord progression with those 5 chords that you know now, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to just add 3 notes to this scale, this first shape that I showed you, right? So the 3 notes are going to be built on the top 3 strings, the G string, the B string, and the E string, the high E string. Okay, so it's going to look like this. All right, we've got our easy shape that we learned last week. Open, 3, open, 2, open, 2, open, 2, open, 3, open, 3. Okay? Okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add this note, the 5th fret of the high E, also the 5th fret of the B string, and the 6th fret, the 6th fret of the G string, right? So, okay, now why those notes? Well, because now we can go, okay, so this is part of a shape that's nicknamed the extension shape. It's an extension of the easy shape. Here's the easy shape, and it's extension of that. So you've got, okay, and then you can go, and okay, so picture it as like a little bit of a box that starts here on the 4th fret of the G string, and it just goes 4, 3, 5, 3, 5. So maybe practice that over and over. Okay? So then what you can do is, once you get that under your fingers, you can mess around with any of those notes that you know now, right? Okay, so that's all just those notes that I showed you between last week and this week. So I hope that helps. Again, like we did last week, take your phone, use your voice memo app on your iPhone, or I don't even know what it's called on an Android, but I'm sure there's a similar app. Record yourself playing some chord progressions, any combination of the 5 that we know now, and then while we play that back, you can play any combination of the notes that you learned from this G major pentatonic scale, and along with that extension shape. So I hope that helps. I know your fingers are sore, Katrina. Shout out. But yeah, keep doing it. Keep practicing. You will build up the calluses on your fingers, and it won't hurt anymore. I've been playing guitar for over 40 years, and fingers never bother me, no matter how long I play. So. Yeah, just keep at it and keep practicing. You guys are awesome. Happy New Year, and have a great day.